Okay, and we're recording. Well, you guys, welcome back. This has been such a crazy morning. I'm really excited to be with John Miller today, but we have been having technical difficulties after technical difficulties after technical difficulties, just hitting the wall. And so we have bailed on what we were trying to do for our Facebook Live, and we are just recording a private interview so that we can show you, do some show and tell. And I know you're going to have some questions, and that's going to be just fine because I know that John is going to be able to connect with us and be able to answer any questions that we have.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've been chatting, we've been trying to talk with John Miller, co-creator of Signing Savvy, which is my favorite go-to ASL dictionary. And I happened to meet John completely randomly through another random person who, as I was telling her what I did, she said, "Oh my gosh, I wonder if you have ever heard of this website called Signing Savvy." And I said, "I'm kidding, I love Signing Savvy. It's my favorite. Oh, my friend is one of the creators." What a serendipity meeting. I've been chatting with John, and he's been sharing his heart for the program. It is so much more than a signing dictionary. It goes way above and beyond that, and it is actually a fantastic tool for anybody who is learning or teaching ASL or has students who are sent, you have parents that you want to connect them and help them learn sign. It is a fantastic resource. So, John, we're going to just go back. We're going to start over a little bit.
Right.
You mind just kind of telling us kind of like why you created Signing Savvy? Where did it come from? What was your purpose? And what can we do with it in general?
Sure, sure. I started my career as a K-12 teacher in the deaf and hard of hearing program, and my focus for much of that career was on early childhood. So I worked with the babies on through second grade, third grade, that type of thing. I did a lot of home visits. I worked a lot with parents, and that was really my passion. But one kind of brick wall that I seemed to run into all the time with these parents was the fact that they wanted to learn. They were excited to learn, but life was busy, life was crazy. And, how do they incorporate this in when what they had at home might be a different sign language book than what I had at school or what, their friends had or that type of thing. And so the questions I often got was, how do we know which sign to use? How do we know what you're using in school? How do we know, what's the right way to do things kind of? And so I did everything that I'm sure all of the teachers, especially the more seasoned ones that have been around for a while, you wrote notes, you wrote journals and went back and forth every day. You made videotapes of each other in the classroom. You tried to hand draw whatever you needed to do. You set the copybook on the copy
Copybook.
machine.
Cut,
You know,
cut, cut, cut,
yeah,
glue, 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 scan, scan,
exactly.
scan.
Exactly, that we were all gonna go to prison for, that type of thing. And so it wasn't until kind of the next stage into my career after I left the classroom and went back into the college level to work on my PhD that I ran into a gentleman who was like a computer technology wizard. And I, in conversation with him, just said, "Hey, is there a way that we can like make a video dictionary type thing that's just going to go out there for everybody to use and to be able to that I can say specifically, this is what I'm talking about. This is the sign that I want to see used. This is, that." And he's like, "Oh yeah, yeah. So little did I know, years later, after we were spending lots and lots of time in the studio and cutting and editing and pasting, and I mean, crazy amount of time, that we would come up with Signing Savvy. And we added more and more people along the way. It was not just he and I. We ended up having another person who happened to end up be his wife become the creative. She, like, her whole background is all the graphic design and that type of stuff, and so she was just a wizard at taking. We always say that, we started with this kind of rough stone and then she just made it pretty, just and took it. But then since then, over the years, we've added a panel of people who are all deaf, that are from throughout the United States and Canada. And so we use those people to tap into, to say, hey, is this the sign that's used there? Is this the sign? What is the most popular sign? What is the most preferred sign by the deaf community? All that type of stuff. So we basically created a product that teachers, like you said, can take it. They can create word lists in their classroom of exactly what it is they're doing, whether it's storybooks that they're working with, whether it's a social studies activity, a cooking activity, whatever it is that they're teaching, they can create word lists, and then they could send parents links to those word lists, or anybody, speech therapists, occupational therapists, social workers, whatever it is that they're working on, you can tap into that and see exactly what the child is learning and then be able to use those words. And so everyone's on the same page. Everyone's signing these things the same way, the right way. And then they can go in and actually use on their smartphones or their tablets and quiz themselves with it and create flashcards, virtual flashcards, as well as printed out flashcards if you want to go old school, and kind of do it that way. But so yes, over the years, it's just kind of morphed into something that's so much more because we also have a lot of other things. And I can show you that as we kind of walk through
Yeah,
the website to be able to see just the multitude of things that are on Signing Savvy that people can basically create their own, ASL courses with using Signing Savvy as a resource.
I love it. So why don't you go ahead and give us a tour? Go ahead and show us what you got. Tell us how we can maximize the website.
I closed it down, so let me go back into it. But all right, can you see my screen yet, or do I need to
Not yet.
share
You
again?
need to share it. Yeah.
Alright, hold on one second. How about now?
Nope.
Can you see Signing Savvy?
Nope. Not yet.
All right, let me do something again. Share screen. Um, Need to be able to pull it up behind here. Um, well, how about now?
Nothing. What
No.
is it with our technology today? So did you want to go to screen share at the bottom?
Yep, I did on your. Let me see here. Go back to this screen share. How about now?
There.
Yeah.
We're in.
All
Super
right.
duper.
I
And
knew we
there's you in your
there
purple
we go.
shirt. I love it.
Yeah, it's actually a blue, but it comes out looking terrible
Oh,
because I'm there. But yeah,
that's
I
cute.
was always referred to or often referred to as the man in the blue shirt. But this this is Signing Savvy, and I'm gonna move us maybe down here so I can kind of show you some. One of the biggest things is once you're on the site, a way to know that you're on the site and that you've checked in correctly is it's going to say welcome up here. So this says welcome John Miller, and then it says you currently are a full member. Okay. The importance of that is just because there are some people who can get on and be like registered guests and things like that. And there's some things that they can do, but they can't see the full scope of everything that's offered
Mhm.
through Sign and Savvy unless they have that full membership up there. Okay. But the biggest things that you want to pay attention to are all these tabs across the top here. Okay. This space over here that says type in a word or phrase, because if you're wanting to look up a specific word or things, that's what you're going to want to do. And then there's these things. And if you can see my hand moving over this thing that says Savvy Lists, My Lists, Shared Lists, okay? That's one of the biggest focus areas for teachers and parents to use a lot. And we'll get into that in just a minute to show you. And by all means, ask questions if you want to know other
Mhm.
things as we're going here. There's always going to be a sign of the day, and this changes daily. And one thing I really like to do with my ASL classes that I teach now at the college levels down here in Florida is tell the students to just go into the sign of the day because there's so much that happens in the sign of the day that they can look at just on their phone. It's going to show you the sign. It's going to show you if there's alternate variations of the sign. It's going to use the sign in a sentence, and it's going to give you the English sentence for it as well as the ASL gloss for that. And then
Mm.
there's going to be links to each one of those words that are in that gloss to show them how to sign those things too. So there's so much that can be done just from the sign of the day that's a teaching tool for parents, anybody. Even to be able to say, I would often have my parents say, make sure you go over the sign of the day with your children when they come home, and they're going to teach you something about it. Because in my classroom with my preschool kids, I would teach them, this is cook, this is what we do this every Friday. In my class, we cooked every Friday, so the kids could go home and share that sign of the day and make sure at least the parents were learning one sign a day. Because it gets to the point where we as teachers are teaching our children, and then they go home and teach it to the parents.
Mhm.
And that happened a lot. The other things on Signing Savvy that are really important is there's a blog article, and the blog articles change throughout the month. But then there's all these tags over here that go to lots of different blog articles that you can go back to. There's a feature here called Close But Not the Same, and these are articles that are a bunch of signs that are very similar but not quite necessarily the same, and you can go through those. And so I use these with my again, my sign language classes I have right now, my kind of second more advanced ones. But it's signs like, let's click on one and just show you. It's signs like nut and not, okay, and how much they're so close. Nut at the top of the mouth, not,
Mm.
on the bottom. Those type of things. A lot of those signs that get confused, that type of thing. So that's what all of these close but not the sames are. Then there's cooking. I love to cook with my students, and so there's a lot of activities that blogs that talk about the importance of cooking, but then leads you right to recipes too that you can do with your students or have your students share with their parents at home. And the beauty of this is these are all in these shared word lists, okay?
Now, are these things that you have to be a member to be able to access these blog articles and
Yes,
this
the majority of
information?
the things
Okay.
like that, you have to be a member in order to do that. Membership is something that it's $49 a year to be able to be a member, which works out to about like $4.17 a month.
Mhm.
Less than 14 cents a day type of thing. We are doing a special right now for teachers. So as a teacher, you can go on there, you can get a free membership, and then you can get unlimited um, a code that you can use. Basically, it's going to be your email address that anybody, so you can give that out to any of your parents, any of the people who work with, and they can get on and get a 20% discount. So with the discount, it really does, it brings it down to about $39.95 a year, $3.33 a month, 10, 11 cents a day.
Mm.
But it gives them access to all the stuff that's on the site. And again, back to the word listing. So this is my personal word list. These are my private ones. And that's what some people will say, well, what if I'm working with a student that I don't want to have it out there for everyone to see? You have that option when you create the word list, whether you're going to share them. So if you look, a lot of mine are shared. Okay. This happens to be a book that I use to teach down here in Florida at one of the colleges that I work with. Okay. ASL at work. So these are word lists that go along with that book. All these words are from that very first unit or module. Okay. And then what I can do is I can go in and I can create quizzes or flashcards using that book. I'm going to go back to one that's a little more, let me see. That was like the first weeks, and so it's not going to be very difficult. Let's go into week 6 because I know I just taught this the other day. So if you look, these are all the signs, and you can click on each one of them and they'll go through those signs for them. But let's say I want to create a test for that. I'm going to click create a test. It's going to ask you a few questions. And these are just how you want the test presented to you, how you want it in like a matching form or a fill in the blank or that type of thing. You fill in how you want it. Okay. And then you just say start the quiz. And it's going to go through, it's going to say which sign below means sun. So this is the first option. This is a multiple choice. So I'm going to look at these. First one, second one, third one, and there's 2 different signers on the site. There's going to be either this person who is Brenda Cartwright. She is a CODA, and she's also ran an interpreter training program in Lansing, Michigan for years. And then there's me with various stages of hair. And so if I'm looking at all 4 of these, I'm going to say this one at the bottom is going to be sun. And so I'm going to choose that one. And then I'm going to submit my answer and move on. Now you can choose to where it'll tell you right away after each one, whether you're right or not, or it'll tell you at the very end, okay? So this is just another way you can go through these quizzes. Instead of it being multiple choice, this time it's fill in the blank. So it says what is being signed here,
Mhm.
okay? Can I test you on that one? Can you see what's being
You
signed?
signing mom? Looks like
Yeah,
mom.
So
Okay.
you would just say mom or mother, parent, okay, and then submit it, right? And you basically just work through the quiz like that, okay? And it's
Okay.
gonna go all the way through. This one's telling you that you're at question 3 of 29. So because of the way I set up the quiz before, it's not going to tell you your answers until the very end at 29, but you can change it if you want instant gratification, where it'll say you're correct right there at the
Mm.
top, right after you do each one. Okay. So that's one way to work with the quizzes. You could
So does
also,
the quiz, do you have to identify each quiz question, or can you make your word list and then the word list, you create the quiz automatically from that word
right,
list?
the word list is created automatically from, or the quiz is created automatically from the word list
Okay.
using these guidelines that you've set up ahead of time. So
Okay.
those are the things I set it up so it would be a mixture of matching signing to meaning, meaning to sign, fill in the blank. Okay. You can do it where it comes from a word base of everything that we have in Signing Savvy, or just from that word list. I recommend that you keep it just within that word list because it
Okay.
gets,
Mhm.
really cumbersome if you're using with everything. But then you can even limit how many questions here. I can take it down that I just want 5 questions in my quiz, and then it's going to be done. You can vary the speed, you can vary the video size to make it smaller or bigger, okay? And then start your quiz.
Mm.
But the quizzing feature using the word list is one of our best features that people go to all the time and say that it really helps them. And the thing that's really cool with it, so right now I'm teaching beginning ASL classes for 2 different colleges here in Florida. The students can go in and let's say they're going through 6 modules, okay? Each week they have a different module. Maybe the first week's module, they're like, I get all these signs. They're really easy for me, not a problem. But when they get into module 3, it's like, ooh, 3 through 6, there were a few signs here and there that I'm just not getting. They can make up their own word list, name it whatever they want
Mhm.
to, keep it private so it's just within them, or they can share it with classmates, that type of thing. And that can be their struggle words. So it can be Stephanie's struggle words or whatever. And
Mhm.
then you can go through and quiz yourself on those using your smartphone, using your tablet, using your computer, and then be able to go in and once you master them, kick words off of the list or add new words onto the list the whole time. So you're constantly revolving through this list of words. And there's actually under Signing Savvy. So these you can see, this is some more word lists that are like Signing Savvy official ones that we made up. Okay. Any ones that say the author is Signing Savvy.
Mhm.
And if I go down here, there's a book that I use by Brenda Cartwright, American Sign Language book. Okay, I can click on that book, and this one is really nice because our graphic person went and made each module into
Hmm.
like a nice little graphic with conversational signs, families and friends, feelings, school. So if I wanted just each one of those, I could just click on
So this
that.
would be for a teacher who is teaching a class to
Mhm.
share with their students.
Yeah, yeah. So these are broken up into each one of the modules that way. And then, or if I want to, when I go back to that book, okay, let's say they're at the end of the class and it's like they've went through each one of these modules, each one of these areas, and I want to test myself and see if I'm ready for my final exam. I can click on this one, and that's going to be every single sign that's in the whole book
Hmm.
is going to be through there. Okay.
So it's the website kind of becomes the textbook. So if you were teaching the class, then you would have a membership for it. And then instead of having people purchase a book, they would be in the website, and then that would be the curriculum, their textbook
Right.
for the signing class.
Yeah, and what I end up doing a lot. So if we go back to the home page, my classroom, my virtual classroom, because basically we're teaching all online now,
Mhm.
especially with everything that's going on in the world. I have something that talks about on a weekly basis. There are general interest articles. There are things about deaf culture. So if we click on deaf culture, these are all different people that we've written blog articles about. Okay, and it's either myself, Brenda Cartwright, guest writers, Marta Belsky, different people like that that have written these things. So I will just assign one of these links to each one of my modules. And so the students are learning something about a deaf person, a deaf culture article. They're getting a word list that goes along with these word lists that we've created that cover certain things like what you just saw. school, family, foods, whatever that way. They might be getting some, maybe it's an interpreter training, like a lot of the students are going to be interpreters. There's these interpreter Q&As that talk about specific things that interpreters need to work on, dealing with their reputation, talking about being part of the community and committee members, self-care. There's a lot of different things here in this part that you can use as a teacher to fill in and make your courses basically about.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah. Very cool.
We do have a tutoring area as well where you could actually get on live and meet with and work with someone that's a deaf individual that you would go over and practice your signing with, things like that. There's areas like numbers and our number and our finger spelling area. So let me show you this too while I'm here. This area, these are printables. So each one of our areas have things like printables that are really cool. So these are like things that we've already made up that you can go on. Really cool graphics. This is like a poster that you can print out,
Mm-hmm.
laminate, and put in your classroom or give to your parents, that type of thing. There's some real colorful ones that go along with colors, the alphabet, fruits,
Mm.
vegetables. Okay, this is a little fun one that we did with a dog that talks about meal times and things like that. These are actually some recipes that we've done. So these are cooking up with language signs. This is a frozen fruit pop that we made. So it gives you some of the signs there. It gives you the directions and how to do it. Anything that has a link there is going to open up as a sign if you want to
Mm.
click on that and make it go. Okay. And then it shows you how to make these really good fruit pops, which right now in Florida are really good.
They look amazing.
So
Wow.
there's a lot to the site, and like I said, we
Yeah.
started out as a sign dictionary, but we really have expanded it to be so much more than that. And it's to the point now where people can use us to go in and create their own class, their beginning ASL classes using the resources that we have here on the site, between blogs, old and new, between features. Our finger spelling feature is another one that I'm really excited about. People love it. You can go in and you can create your own quizzes and things with it. You can speed it up, slow it down, say that you want 3-letter words, 4-letter words, 5-letter words, whatever. There's just a lot that you can do with it.
Well, can we play a little bit? Can
Yeah,
we actually make a worksheet together?
yeah.
In the signing room, our next week's topic of conversation is a really fun topic of conversation and not really vocabulary that would be easy for people to find. So I typically direct them to Signing Savvy to find some vocabulary that they wouldn't know. But if we wanted to just make a little worksheet, then that might be really a fun thing to try out. Our topic is just talking about tattoos in general. Isn't that a fun topic? Talking about if people like them, if they have any of them, and just building the vocabulary and the conversation from
Okay.
that.
So the
So,
first thing you would do is just basically go to my list, because it's going to be you're creating it, and whoever, the author is going to be listed, then whoever the sign-in person is. So this will
okay.
show up under my list. So I'm going to go to my list. I'm going to go to create a new word list. Okay. I'm going to give it a title right here. So
Title it Talking About Tattoos.
talking about tattoos. Oops. If I can read and write, talking about tattoos. Did I spell it right away? Let's do
Two
T-O.
T's.
T-O-O-S.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then here you just put a description. So it's kind of to help remind yourself, what it is. So what would you want to say in your description?
We can
Vocabulary.
just do let's talk about tattoos.
Okay.
That's fine.
And then what we're doing right here is we're basically thinking of the words that we would be putting in here. So what do you think? This
Okay,
is
well, let's start with
your word.
tattoo, of course. Now, do you do phrases? Could we put a phrase? Do you have? Um,
Um, you can, not necessarily in the word list. You could put them in there, but unfortunately, then what it does is it sticks them more kind of like all together, and there ends up being a lot of finger spelling if it
okay.
it as that.
So
But
we
you
would do
could do
have,
you could
right?
do it separately, and you just basically push return after each thing you write. So
Okay.
tattoo, do you
And
have
then we would say, like, look like, maybe? Look like?
look, and we can
Now
say
that, and we'll be able, I think you showed me before, you can identify what you want, which look you would want versus look
well,
versus
and
look.
I'll
And
show you how it does that too. So we'll
okay.
we'll put these both in here, and then we'll go on to it and see. Because once it starts playing with it, it'll show you how to put them in there.
Okay.
So,
And then let's do hurt. And then I don't know I don't have any tattoos personally. But what other vocabulary would go
like
along with the
color,
conversation? Oh yeah,
maybe.
color. Yeah.
Um, ink. I'm not sure what it's going to show up for that, but um,
Uh,
time maybe. Like how long?
yeah.
Um, mm,
Where, right? People
feel
need to know
maybe
where.
like as into
Feel. Good.
where.
Okay.
Um,
Special meaning. Does it have a special meaning?
special.
Okay, that's probably a pretty good start.
So then it's going to say, do we want them listed in alphabetical order? So this is where I'm saying you get to really pick and choose how you're going to do this. It could
Okay.
be in alphabetical order. It can be in date order. It can be custom. I usually like if I want them to stay kind of in what I put it in, then I
Hmm.
just say custom. That
Okay.
leaves it alone. Okay, and then display type words only, words and images, images only. Usually I say words is how I want it to be. That's like in the little bar where you see it.
Okay.
And then access. So I'm going to say this is for members only. This is for private. Now, I probably, if it's something like, I want to keep it to myself until I get it all, figured out what I'm going to do, we're going to
Hmm.
leave it private just so that someone else doesn't, mess around with it while we're.
Okay. But then when
And
we're done, let's talk about when we're all done, we'll go back and then we
when
would be able
when we're all
to.
done, you could put it into shared, you could put it into
Mhm.
members only, you could put it unlisted just means that it's there. People could find it, but they have to really look for it in order for it to
Okay.
come up. Okay. And we could
So,
maybe leave it
okay.
there if we wanted to, but
All right. And when we finish with it, maybe we'll go back and like
okay.
change it.
Well, and
Okay.
I can make it a shared one. I guess it's not that big of a deal where
Okay.
tattoos aren't anything. Where I tend to, let's say sometimes I'm working with a particular client and it's a social story, and so it's
Mhm.
something about some very personal, private things like that. That's where
Mhm.
I just keep it private. It just
Sure.
stays that, and then when I share that with that person's parents or something like that, I will say this is your link to it, and I can send them a direct link to it, and then that means only them and myself can access that. Nobody else can.
That's great.
All right, so we're not making this a Science Savvy official list, and we're not going to hide the list, but we're just going to kind of leave it for us
Okay.
all right, we're going to create our word list here. So here's our words. Okay, it shows you this, and then it says the following words are added as fingerspell. So if we don't have
Mm-hmm.
a sign for something, that's where it shows up there. And I don't know if we have a sign for tattoo. It might be because we put tattoos on there. If we take the S off,
Mm-hmm.
it would be there. Okay,
Okay.
but the rest of these, it's showing you there's a sign for those. Okay, so we can go back. We're going to manage the list now. We're going to look at them. So here it is. And anytime it shows up like this with this blue, that means there's a version for it. There's a sign there, and you can start looking at it. So we're going to click on the first one, and it's going to say tattoos. And it's basically just her finger spelling through the word tattoos. Okay.
Okay.
I want to go in though, just because I'm curious. I'm going to go back to it, and we're going to manage our word list, and we're going to say, um, we're going to remove it from there, and we're going to add it to the bottom here when we're done. We're going to put it, and I'm going to see if it shows up Tattoo. I don't know. Is there a sign for tattoo?
There is T
Just like
on
a
your
little.
arm, but then it's also often finger spelled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that ends up at the bottom. All right, so basically this is what it's gonna look like. We're gonna go through, we're gonna do this. Now see at the top here how it says 1, 2, 3,
Mm-hmm.
okay? That means there's different versions of do. So there's this do,
Mm-hmm.
there's
Mm-hmm.
do, like do, do, do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or there's like
Okay.
doing, right?
Yeah.
So you, as the creator of the list, have to decide which way you want that, which do you want basically of that.
Sure.
Mhm.
Sure.
So when you're at this stage of it, you decide right here by that version one, version two, version three.
Okay.
Which did you want?
I don't know. I think um probably the first one, right?
Okay, the first one. So we'll leave that like that.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going to say have. We're going to click on the next one. That was only one version of have.
Yep.
We're
Keep
gonna leave that
going.
there. You can move quickly through these right up here where it says 2 of 20 just by going
Okay.
to the next arrow. You. So
Ye
this is
Yep.
kind of a way for you to go through and look at everything and make sure it's how you want it. Okay, now this is like look at something like
Oh,
check it
yeah.
over.
Check it.
Okay. That's probably a little different than what you may
Uh-huh.
have wanted. So again, we're gonna go back to this manage the list. We're gonna look at this over here and go down. Look at all the different versions there are of look. So you're like,
Okay.
I want to look at that. I want to make sure and kind of see which one I'm talking about. So again, I'm going to click on that word look, that
Mhm.
link. I'm going to look at the things here. That's look like. Nope, hold on. That was not what I wanted to do. I want to go back and look at my different meanings of look. Look isn't to check something out.
We would do look as in appearance.
Look is an appearance.
Oh,
So we're going to click on that one. And then we're going to look at it now and see what it looks like that.
mhm.
Okay. So that's basically, I mean, I won't walk you
Neat.
through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Basically, you'll go through and you'll see and make sure that these words are the meaning and the sign that you want. That's the thing. And it takes a little while to kind of get used to and work your way
Mhm.
through that. But once you've managed that list and you've got it all figured out that this is exactly the way I want, these are the versions I want, this is what I want things to look like. Okay. You can see by just clicking on those, there's different versions of each one of these. And sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. Sometimes it's just a one thing and then you're done.
Now, and if I went to your dictionary and I typed in hurt, then I would be able to see each one of the options that you
Exactly.
have, right?
Yep.
And that would
Exactly.
be a quick way to do that.
Yep, that's another way to do it. And then you
Okay.
can add words to it when you're done down here if there's anything else that you want. And you just kind of have to keep playing with it till you get it to the point of, yep, that's my full list. This is what I want to do with this.
Neat.
Okay. Looking at their versions there. Yep. And then once you do, it's a list. It's made up and it's there. So now if I go back to my lists, okay, what did we call that one?
Let's talk
Talking
about
about
tattoos,
tattoos.
I think.
So they're alphabetized. So I gotta scroll way down because I've made a lot of them. And talking about tattoos,
There
that's
you
right.
go. That's it.
Okay. I
So then
click.
can you share that with me, or could I,
Yeah.
if that became, if you made that and I wanted to have that and then I wanted to share it with other people, would that be something that we'd be able to do? Or
Yeah.
do I need, okay.
Because I made it as a public. See, it says right here, list. This is a member created public shared word list. You can access all the features of this word list. So that means you can get on there and you can do stuff to it and you can, manipulate it however you need it. And it's gonna then save it as you signed in as a saved member. But then if I just want to share the list with somebody, I can just go on the link right here and copy and paste it right into and say, here, go to this. It's going to give you a word list that you can look
Neat.
that talks about tattoos,
Great.
that sort of thing. Okay.
That's so cool. I love it. And then it's already the quizzes and the flashcards are already now built in there. It's already
Right.
made
It's
from the
right here
list.
at the top. So this is,
Yep.
yep, these are right there. So you can decide what you're going to do with it. You can bookmark it. You can manage it. You can make it into, so flashcards, if we're going to take these, it's going to, again, ask you a few questions about those.
Mhm.
Okay. It's going to ask you how many. We're going to cut it down to just, let's say 5 just for time. And I want to know, let me see, random order words only. Um, speed is okay, size. All right, so we'll start the flashcards now. So here, what's being signed?
You.
Okay, so there's nothing you have to really like type in there or whatever. You can just reveal your answer because this is like a
Okay.
flashcard. So figure it
Okay,
like
sure.
so I'm just gonna say you're saying it to yourself, you.
Gotcha.
Yep. And then
Okay.
you're saying the next one. This is like a quick way to
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
All right, next one. The sign below is, that's you again, right?
Yep.
So this one,
Time.
time. So you're going to reveal your answer,
Okay.
time. Okay, show next. What's being signed there?
Looks like I. Oh, she's finger
Oh,
spelling.
she is finger spelling.
Ink.
And
Okay.
yeah,
Ink.
ink. Yeah.
Okay.
So then it reveal the answer, ink.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hurt.
hurt or pain. Yeah. Okay. Oh, for some
Ink.
reason we lost the connection. But anyway, that's basically a kind of tour through, the creating of word lists, the signing savvy shared list. These are ones that like we kind of have done as a company, um, and done. But then if you look at just the shared lists, these are really interesting. So I do tell teachers, go on and look. You got to kind of have a word of caution because sometimes these are all users, but maybe they get on there and maybe they're more, let's say, signed English, or
Mhm.
maybe they, would do things a little bit differently than you did. So before you just adopt someone else's word list and put it into
Mm,
something of yours, I definitely recommend that you go through and you look through it,
okay.
first to make sure. Because even though I'm sure all these are great people, we just don't know for sure if what their expectations or standards are, or what ours are. The
Mhm.
ones that you find in Signing Savvy are our Signing Savvy word lists. These other ones are ones that other people have decided to go and make up, and there's a lot. I mean, there's things
Yeah.
from songs to stuff about family tree. Well, there's
Mhm.
a lot of different users that have gone in and then made things up and saved them so that other people can use them and access them. Okay.
I love it. I love it. So then if people wanted to share and you told me this before, I know it's best if you can have your families become members of Signing Savvy so that they can access everything, but they can still access if you were to create a list and
Yes.
send it home and they were not a member, they could still access the information, right?
Right. They can still access the shared lists. They just can't create them or use the quizzing or flashcard feature with them. That's something that the only members can do. So they can access and see what the words are that are on the list, but in order to use the other features that go along with them, they have to become a member.
Okay.
That's part of the membership thing.
But
Okay.
right now you guys have a special, right?
We do, yes, we do have that special, and that special, we usually have sales twice a year, is all, but this is something that's kind of outside of that. So any teachers that are out there can go in right now. If we go back to our homepage, you'll see that there is a free gift for teachers. And we did this because of everything that's going on in the world with
Mhm.
COVID and everything. We know that teachers are just busy and suddenly, they're classroom teachers and they're having to go online, and do all this stuff. And so what we did is we offered starting in May a 3-month subscription for free for teachers. And then what you do is you go and you sign up. You just give me a little information about who you are, where you teach, that type of thing, your supervisor's name, and that kind of stuff, just to verify that you're actually a teacher or working in the field. It don't necessarily need to be a teacher. You can be a therapist or any other professional. And then how many people basically that you affect that you work with. So if you're somebody that you say, hey, I'm a speech person and I have 45 people on my caseload, or whatever, or I'm a supervisor of teachers and I have altogether 600 students or something like that. All you have to do is let us know that, and then we set aside promo codes, is what it's called, under your email address. And then anybody who comes in under your email address and puts that in will not only get the discount, but then they'll be listed under you. And for every so many that you get signed up under you, that gives you more and more free membership. So it works in the teacher's favor, even though after 3 months their promotion may run out. If
Mhm.
they have even 10 students that end up signing up for underneath them, that's going to give them a full year's membership just by that. I think it's even less than 10 now. So you as a teacher can keep earning free membership just by the other people that sign up for yearly memberships that go underneath you. And that's our way just to be able to thank teachers, and to hope that they're making it through all of this of what's going on. We've had teachers before that have, with their teacher budgets, maybe they had some money raised, whether it was through parent teacher organizations, different things like that, where they've come in and bought like a group of memberships for their families. So they've come in and said, look, I'm a teacher and I have 10 students. And so, together we want to buy 13 memberships for myself, my two parapros in the classroom or two interpreters in the classroom, and 10 family members. And this is what, and then there's a discounted rate that goes, to that. And it's called our educational pricing.
Ah,
So that's stuff that's always there out there for you as well.
great.
Okay. But
So,
this 20% off is really good. That's a good deal.
and when this ends, then you said a full year's membership was for $49, you said?
Uh, mhm.
Okay. That's definitely worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Thank you. Thank you. We think it is. We do have people that sometimes will be, well, that's too expensive, or that's, I can find all these signs for free and that type of thing. And you can, but you can't find some of the other stuff that we have going on with it.
Mm.
And a lot of those sites are sites that have been around for a long time and they don't maintain the site. Here,
Mm.
if you have problems, you have issues, you have questions with Signing Savvy, you get with us, we will get right back with you. We do things like this, how I'm doing with you, talking with your people, being able to brainstorm and answer questions. And I was really looking forward to this being live because I was hoping to get some live questions. But
I know. I think we're going to get some questions because I
yeah,
know that people were looking forward to connecting. So we'll record it, but you're in the site now, so you'll be able to
yeah,
connect with everybody.
maybe we'll
Yeah.
revisit after a little bit here and be able to, see what people have come up with. And I love hearing from educators. I mean, I'm always going to be an educator to my core, so we like doing that and being able to figure out ways to help people understand things more. Another feature up in the top here, these sentences, these are all pre-recorded sentences, so people can go in and look at some very simple sentences and how they are done in both English. So my sister is having another baby my sister born will. So
Mhm.
just by clicking on that, you're going to be able to see, okay, she's signing that in ASL.
Mhm.
My sister's having another baby. Here it is in ASL. And if you look, each one of these is going to be a link then that you can look up the word to and see how it's signed individually. So it's nice because it takes the signs, not only sign, but then puts them into sentences that you can see, and you can see
Mhm.
that full flow happening.
That's
That's
great.
something that a lot of other sites don't have, to be able to do that. You can type phrases in up here, but if it's not done in a sentence that's already, fully
Mhm.
signed like this one, you're going to kind of get like chunk, 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 chunk. It's not quite as smooth and fluid as what you see with the sentences here. Okay. So there's several hundred sentences that go on in here that
Neat.
range in different topics. All right. Is there anything else you wanted to see there?
Well, I'm just really excited to see how it all works. Go back to I want to see that your sign of the day, and
Oh,
you were talked about that a little bit and
yeah. So the
how
sign of
that
the day
works.
today is cook.
Yep, right
So I'm
there.
going to
Just click on
I'm gonna
that,
click and cook. It's going to
and
make it bigger.
then
All right. It'll tell you what that day is. And then there's things that go down here below it. So you can look at a picture. It's going to give you that it's an ASL sign. It's going to give you a description. So it tells you the non-dominant hand, blah, 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 goes down and tells you that. It's going to give you a memory aid.
which is
So
one
you
of the things I really like about your site
have
that you offer those
pink and
memory aids.
cookie or
Yeah.
pancake. And then it's going to also give you other signs that are
Mm,
also signed by this sign. So other English words that use this same sign. And that's chef, cook, fried, fry, kitchen. Okay. And then it's going to give you a sentence. So it gives you these ASL sentences that use the word cook in them. And you can just basically click on those and then watch her sign that. Grill hamburgers, cook, I love. Okay, so she's gonna show you that. And then down below here, again, you can click on each one of these links and see the signs individually made. Hamburger, okay? So all that stuff came from just that one sign of the day.
neat. Yeah. What a great resource.
Yeah, so there's a lot that students can access just by doing that. And sometimes I'll say, a thing to my parents like, "All right, I want you to sit down and maybe you have 5 kids in your class. Bill, you're going to get Monday, Becky, you're going to get Tuesday, that type of
Mhm.
thing." And then the parents, I'm going to say, "So you sit down with your mom and dad at home and you figure out what the sign of the day is and what it's going to be coming up, or they're going to come in then on if Bill has Monday, then on Tuesday, he's going to come in with his little information about it and that
Mm.
tell us, with your mom and dad, what was the sentence that went along with the word cook or that type of
Mm.
thing. Okay. So this is what it looks like on the computer. On your phone, it looks a little bit differently because it's going to be, again, a sign of the day. Let me see. But then I have to go to a the example part of it. So it looks a little bit different, a little bit smaller, but then under examples is where that's going to show up, and that's going to show me my sentences again. But it's handheld. It's very easy for you to see from that app
Yeah.
on your phone. You can browse all of everything, and I don't know if you can see that, but
Yeah, why don't
that's
you, if we quit our screen share, we'll have a little bigger view of the
oh,
phone.
okay. But so yeah, the phone basically the sign of the day is the biggest thing that shows up, but then from
Okay.
it, you can still access all your word lists. You
Mm-hmm.
can search for individual words.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Ba-
an app on your phone, so it's not like they've got to go to the internet and type it in. They just go
Nope,
click straight to
it's
the
an
app.
app. So it's
Love it.
once you get even if you don't have membership, you can at least get the app and you'll get the sign of the day every day. That's something that's free that's always offered to you.
Yeah.
But if you have membership, then you can get into all the other features of that sign of the day. So yeah, the sign of the day is a really great learning tool that a lot of my classrooms, it's fun because I'll get notices sometimes from different preschool teachers that say, we use the sign of the day every day for for my students, and we love the fact, and we share that on our Facebook page too. So every day on our Facebook, if you follow us on Facebook,
Mhm.
you'll see the sign of the day and the sentence of the day. Those will be on there.
I
So
love it.
okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with me and just showing just what all Signing Savvy has to offer. I, until recently, didn't realize any of this. I knew there was a membership site. I didn't really know what all that included or what that meant. And it's always just been my favorite dictionary because I feel like it's very inclusive. It shows different variations of signs. I love that you describe how to sign it and it has the memory aid for it. And so, I just, I'm looking through your list of stuff and it really connects with how we designed the signing room too, just like with normal conversation, talking about cooking, talking about recipes, talking about your family and different things that is just that normal conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited. Teachers, for you guys, free membership for 3 months now, but that ends soon, right? People need to get
Yeah,
signed
it's
up.
gonna start. We're gonna taper it down basically. So then, like June 1st, it went from 3 to 2. Then July 1st, it's gonna go 2 to 1. That type of thing.
Okay.
So you'll still be able to get, but it's gonna be less and less until. But like I said, the people that you then like when you request how many people you'll see when you sign up for the form, and I think Stephanie, you did that.
Hmm.
Um, you put basically how many people you work with.
Yeah.
That number is still going to be kind of reserved under your email address, and so that's like a great way just to be able to kind of reserve those promo codes for you, and then just get it out there to more and more people, whoever you can get it to, as far as family members that you think would benefit from it.
Now, if a family member wanted to sign up, do you have any free promotions for family members in case they're at home with their child and their teachers don't know about this or they don't have a way to connect with their teacher?
The best thing I can say is to try to connect with your teachers just to see if they can, get the ball rolling that way. The other
Mhm.
thing is we do have programs through our through your local libraries.
Mm.
So if your local library does not already subscribe to Signing Savvy, go in and talk to them and say, look, we would really love you guys to carry this here, because local libraries can get a big chunk for a smaller amount of money. It ends up being like what, $500 is the cheapest membership, but then that covers anybody within their library, and
Mm.
it depends on what your local area is and how big your library is. It goes by that. But that's another way for people who have some financial hardships, or it's a struggle for them to be able to pay the 49 or 39 at the discounted rate a year.
Mhm.
If they can get it through their local library, or some schools will just, like I said, buy a bulk membership type thing, then they can get it that way. But that's another. We love it when libraries call us and say, hey, we've had some interest from our local school district wants to partnership with us, and to them, together, to pay $500 for 500 membership type things is really good. So that's a very inexpensive way to do it. So if you can't go through your school district, or the parents individually can't afford something like this themselves, I suggest that they go to their local library and say, "Can you contact Signing Savvy?" And
Great.
then, try to set something up that way.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for, first of
So
all, just your patience and perseverance in terms of figuring out these technology issues. I know people are going to have questions. So, what we're going to do is this has been recorded. We're going to upload it to the Facebook page, which you will be tagged in, and we'll be able to connect with people that way. And then
Okay.
we're going to try this again. Once we figure out the
Yeah.
technology issues, we're going to go
Yeah.
live. We're going to do it again.
Great.
So we are going to figure it out,
Good.
uh, but thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. So if you are watching, go ahead and comment. Let us know what your questions are below. Let us know if there are certain lists or words or anything like that that you wish you had access to be able to share with your families. Let us know how you think you could use this. What could it do for you in working with your students, with the general ed kids, with families, with your family? How could this support you? Comment on those things and let us know. And we're going to try it again in a few weeks. And thank you, John, and we'll see you again.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Take care, everybody.
Bye bye.